Welcome to code challenge number 21. So now we're going to do something a little bit differently. Before, we've been looking at evaluating expressions as true statements. So if something was greater than something else, we would simply say, yes, that's true, and have the computer print out that it was true. However, we also need to give the code a way of telling us if something is false. And the reason we want to do that is because sometimes in our code, when our code grows and it wants to do a whole lot of different things, if an expression evaluates to true, we want to run certain code. If it evaluates to false, we want to run some other code. So in order to get there, we need to do this first. So what we're going to do for challenge number 21 is evaluate if 7 is greater than 8, evaluate it and tell me that it's false, okay? But we need to learn how to write that in code. In order to get to the code part, let's take a look at the pseudocode and let's take a look at the flowchart. So here the pseudocode reads as this. So we're still going to evaluate 7 greater than 8 as false. And we're going to put both of those numbers in their own variables. So we're still going to use num1 and num2. And then we're going to use the decision statement to make that, have the computer make that decision for us. If it's this, tell us. If it's something else, tell us that. And in this case, we want the computer to tell us that it's false, okay? So in order to do that, we have to use this structure in our flowchart. So it's a little bit more simpler than writing a math operation. So there's a whole lot more to store, and then we actually had to run the action. This time, the computer is going to do most of the work for us because it's going to inherently know that one number is greater than another number or another number is less than another number. Now here we're evaluating greater than as false, okay? So we're going to actually tell what numbers to put in, and that we're not going to evaluate less than. We're going to do that later. We're evaluating greater than as false. So as if one of your students were to say on a test or on a quiz, 7, tell me if 7 is greater than 8. And of course, the answer is false. We want the computer to tell us that as well. So in this sense, we're kind of testing the computer to see what it knows. But in order for it to give us the correct answer, we have to write the code in a certain way. So in previous tutorials, we used the if statement. So there is the if condition. We're going to add something to that called the else statement. So if something is true, do something, else do something else. So now we're going to add the else statement to our code. So here in our code structure, evaluate 7 greater than 8 as false. And then I have my two numbers. Let me put that over here. Num1 is equal to 7 and num2 is equal to 8. And if num1 is greater than num2, do something. However, it's not. So we are not going to put in, I could easily do this. So if this statement were true, tell me that it's true. Say true. And I'm going to add that to the structure. However, if it's not, else, say false. Okay? So that's exactly how the code should write, because we're going to write it up here. So let's take a look at it. Num1 equals 7. Num2 equals 8. Print evaluate if 7 is greater than 8. If it is, give me true. If it's not, give me false. So that's where the else statement comes in. It should tell us false. Let's find out. And it does. So the computer knows what we know. Maybe, hopefully, it's not as smart as us. But then again, it has to do a whole lot of stuff for us. I'll see you next time. We've got more to learn.